You're listening to Side Hustle Pro, the podcast that teaches you to build and grow a side hustle from passion project to profitable business. And I'm your host, Nicaila Matthews. So let's get started. Hey guys, so people often ask me to list my favorite episodes of Side Hustle Pro. So I thought, why not take a walk down memory lane over the next few weeks as I gear up for my next season, interview more guests, and really get back into a creative space with Side Hustle Pro. Now, it is super hard for me to list out my favorite episodes because I select and I enjoy each guest for a different reason and a particular reason. I will say, though, that I have episodes that stand out in my memory for either the fact that I had a great rapport with the guest, or we were laughing a lot, or because I just learned a ton that I then implemented in my own business. This episode with Arsha Jones checks both of these boxes. I appreciate Arsha for several reasons. Number one, this episode was recorded back in 2016 when I had just started Side Hustle Pro. At the time, I saw Arsha Jones at the Blogging While Brown conference. I saw her because I was going to live events all that summer and all that fall to promote my show. And I was introducing myself to women I admired who I wanted to be in the guest chair. So I thought, seeing them in person and introducing myself would help with that. And it did. So after I saw Arsha's awesome presentation, I told her about my show, which I had just launched. And I asked her, how could someone like myself with a relatively new show interest and approach guests like herself who didn't know me and convince them to be in the guest chair? So when I later reached out to her months later, she remembered me and agreed to be in the guest chair. And at the time, the number two reason why I appreciate Arsha is at the time I was really trying to go hard on e-commerce. As I tested out revenue streams for Side Hustle Pro, I focused on e-commerce first. And while it ultimately did not end up being what I want to be my biggest revenue stream in my business, I learned a great deal about how to develop and sell products online from Arsha, and I hope you will too. And I learned so much from Arsha that, as a matter of fact, when I had my live show in Washington, D.C. in October 2019, she came out, she was in the audience, and someone asked a e-commerce question, I forget what, but I definitely called on Arsha and said, Arsha, you know everything there is to know. You are the guru, so please help me out. And she did. And I really appreciate her because she always supports Side Hustle Pro. She always supports me. We also saw each other at the My Taught You retreat. And this woman is just such a dynamic woman, such a warm woman, and so invested and helpful in supporting other Black entrepreneurs. So shout out to Arsha. Let's go ahead and rewind. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. This is Nicaila, and I am so excited to introduce you to today's guest. Today's guest in the hot seat is Arsha Jones. And Arsha, hey Arsha, thanks for coming on the show. You guys, no problem. Arsha is one of the people who I've learned the most from this year. Really? Yes, I'm a part of your Facebook group, as you know. So Arsha is a serial entrepreneur and master of many trades. As we speak, she's currently operating and managing Capital City Co., keeping us all fly through the Tease and the Trap brand, building iOS apps for Apps by the Pound, all while running the design blog and Facebook group Brand Build Sell. So on this episode, you'll learn how Arsha created her first online business with less than $100 and is now an e-commerce extraordinaire. So welcome to the show, Arsha. Tell us tell us more about who you are and what you're currently working on.
So my name is Arsha Jones, like you said. It's hard to kind of embrace that term entrepreneur. I put it in my bio because it's the easiest thing that people can understand without me having to explain any further. But I just a part of me just doesn't feel like one. I'm more of a creative. I like think of these great ideas and I say, how can I bring this to life? So I don't think of me saying, oh, I want to create all these businesses. I think, wow, that'd be a great product that I could sell. And then it usually just turns into something else. So each thing that I've started has started off as one thing and kind of morphed into something bigger, but definitely my plan is just to be a creative lead who has the ability to see ideas before they're made and know that they be profitable and be fun, because for me, it's like the money is good, but I enjoy the process of it. It's fun to me to see these things come to life rather. And so that's kind of my goal here is, entrepreneurship is kind of the side, it's kind of the side part that happens along with being creative, but I'm a maker. And at heart, I'm a maker.
Yeah.
If I didn't have this, I'd probably be a crafter or
yes,
someone at home gluing things together.
You definitely have an amazing creative brain and drive and you remind me of the quote, or not the quote, but the phrase bias for action. You see that on LinkedIn a lot in people's bios. But that, I love meeting people who really epitomize that, because when you think of an idea, you're like, oh, let me go ahead and throw this on a t-shirt or throw this product together.
Yeah.
So before we get into the businesses a little bit, where are you from? How did your upbringing influence this creative spirit?
Well, I was born and raised in Washington, D.C., and I currently live in Maryland. But it was partly because of my parents. So, like most parents, their idea, they were kind of raised with the idea that you would kind of learn a trade and kind of get a government job or something more steady, engineer, doctor, lawyer, something like that. But my father kind of wanted us to go into a different direction. And so he kind of pushed us into the arts. Okay. So from a young age, I would say 8 or 9, I always had either to draw actively or play an instrument actively. So I played the cello for about 8 years, among some other instruments. But kind of my heart was in art, so I kind of chose that as a thing I wanted to do. So I did art all through high school. I went to Arts High School and then graduated and went to VCU in Richmond and got graduated with a BFA. What I didn't realize was that I didn't really have a plan for my life. And it wasn't until I got in college that I was like, wait, so I'm supposed to paint and draw. How is that going to make me money? Because it never even dawned on me that I need a job when I left. And so this is around the time that kind of the .com boom had happened. And so I learned fairly easily how to design websites. And so that kind of, while I was kind of figuring out the creative side, was able to keep a job based on the web design skills that I had. So I graduated with a BFA, like I said, with this huge creative background, but my day job was web design. So that kind of got me into building websites, understanding design, understanding how the web works, understanding marketing and social media and all that fun stuff. And that led me into blogging. Okay. So then, because I would field questions about the blogging and hosting and how to set up a website. And so I just put up a blog. I was like, okay, I'll put up a blog and, I'll get all these affiliate links and clicks. And I figured out the system, and I was making a passive income of about $1,000 a month. And I was like, wow, okay, if I had this $1,000 a month, right? If I sell a product, then I probably can make another $1,000 a month. And so I ended up launching Capital City because Capital City, we sell a wing sauce called Capital City Mambo sauce. And while mambo sauce isn't a wing sauce that we originally created, it's just a sauce that you can get here in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. After moving to Maryland, it was a sauce that I just couldn't get access to anymore. So what I did was I learned how to make it at home. And would give it to my kids on the weekends. Okay. And then one day I had this bright idea and said, wait a minute, what if there are other people like me who were born and raised in the Washington, D.C. area, but no longer have access to this wing sauce anymore? I said, what? I said, oh, okay, already know like online, like I know how to make websites. I know online. I know how to sell all this. So what if I just put up a website, okay, with one product and a PayPal link and see if people want to buy it, okay? And mind you, since I have a background in web design, my SEO skills were like top notch, okay? So, because I didn't have any money, to like fund this thing. So I was like, so I spent weeks and weeks, like, trying to move my little shop up in the search rankings. And I had a little, like a newsletter plugin so I could grab people's email addresses and stuff. And one day, and we launched, and I had about 60. I remember I had about 60 people on my newsletter list by now. Okay. And we sold like a bottle. We would sell like 4 or 5 bottles a week online. I would get a sale and I would literally like go to my stove and just like heat up the pan with the ingredients and pour it in a bottle and just mail it to people. So bootleg. And so one day, what happened was our local newspaper, which here is, it's a local paper, but it's still the Washington Post, which is like a nationally recognized newspaper, had did a search on Google and found that we were making and selling this local product because of my website. It came up in the search rankings, and they wanted to do an article about the sauce. And so I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be great. Yeah. I said, I'm going to go out and get me 40 bottles because we about to blow up, I thought they were going to, highlight us in like the local news section, of the paper where they just talk about kind of local people or whatever. And I was like, oh, yeah, we're going to be in the local section. We're going to sell about 40 bottles. I'm going to just get stocked up and waiting. And then... So the young lady who was doing the story on us, they came and featured us. And what I didn't know is that they were going to feature us on the front page of the Sunday Washington Post. And so I remember being at like a cookout on Saturday, and so like my PayPal was going off like ching ching. I mean, ching ching, and I go, what in the hell is going on? And I just said, let's go get a paper. And lo and behold, we were on the front page of the Washington Post. Okay, right below the fold. So, and this is being sent out to millions of homes. And overnight, we had about $15,000 in sales with no plan, no process, no system, just sitting there going, what are we going to do now?
How many bottles did you have to get?
Oh, I don't know. But I mean, because at the time, the product only sold for $5 a bottle. Okay. So you can imagine how many bottles that is at $15,000 in sales. That is a lot.
That is a lot of bottles.
That is a lot of bottles. That is a lot of bottles. Okay.
So
we were like knee deep.
Yeah. So did you immediately like open up like a distribution center? I mean, what?
No, I'm gonna tell you, it's crazy. And so after that, I spent like weeks trying to get this stuff out because I still was working at a job, And so we would spend weeks, nights and early mornings just trying to get everybody's product out just to get it done, because we kind of like, we was new to us. So we didn't want to let anyone down. So we just worked really hard to get the product out and then kind of figure out the next step. But even before we did that, we were contacted by Fox 5 TV here, and they wanted to come and do a story on us. So they came and did a story on me in my kitchen, and oh my God, it's so terrible because I wasn't like, I wasn't looking for like fame. So I was like, just like looking like I do when I'm around the house, And so the site, it just took off again, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what we're going to do. And so what happened was after they saw us on Fox TV, that's when the health department called and said, you know what, you're not actually supposed to be making that in your house and selling it to people. Oh. And we go, really? Because like we hadn't even looked up the laws on what.
Yeah, I didn't know you couldn't sell out of your
Yeah,
house.
like really, I just I mean, because you think, okay, people make cakes at their home and sell it, and you think, people make cupcakes or pies or whatever
Right.
at their homes and sell it. So you don't think, oh, I can't do this. You just think, oh, I'll just do what everybody else is doing, when really everybody's doing it illegally. Made me think about, people that cook food at their home and sell it like really differently now. So that's kind of how that started. Now, as far as Teas in the Trap was concerned, I started that because, we were hustling, bustling with Capital City, but it's a very expensive business to run. So because after that, we did actually find a distributor that will work with us. So it's very expensive. And so I would sell these really great t-shirts on our site. The problem is that it was hard to keep them in stock because we will buy them wholesale. So one day I said, you know what, enough of this wholesale stuff. I said, I took like $300 and I went down and took a screen printing class down here in DC. I said, these shirts are simple. We're just going to learn how to print them ourselves. Okay. That's it. Me and my husband, we went to the class. So being as though I had kind of an art background anyway, and I had, I've done printmaking before, it was really easy for me to kind of pick this up and how to do it. Okay. So we got it's printed, great. We can print these in the house, great. Because right now we're like running the business out of our house.
And was this when you were starting to print the mambo sauce t-shirts, or are you talking about Teas in the Trap?
Yep.
Okay.
I was printing the mambo sauce t-shirts. So those were on our site, and we took the class, excuse me, specifically to learn how to print the mambo sauce t-shirts because we needed to keep them in stock without having to purchase like thousands of dollars in wholesale. While we just kind of like sat on the product, meaning like the product, it would just sit on our shelf until people bought it. So I wanted to learn how to print on demand so that I can just like print 4 or 5 at a time, the sizes that I needed when I needed them, And so after taking the class, then I figured out how to do screen printing. But by this time it was like winter, so all of our like festivals and marketplaces were kind of done after the holidays. Okay. So typically after Christmas, things kind of settle down to like normal pace with the Capital City. And I was like, wow, I have this skill now of how to print these shirts. I said, I wonder if I could make money selling shirts. So I went on to Etsy and I kind of calculated how much people were selling shirts for and how much money they were making. And I was like, I'm going to set up an Etsy shop. And I remember I didn't tell my husband. I said, because this isn't real until someone buys something. That's how it is. That's how it is in my head.
You didn't tell hubby?
No. And I remember I said, I will tell him once I make my first sale. And then, but I put the site up like one day when I was at work, and I got home and I had sold like 2 shirts. Okay. And he said, all I remember doing is I remember him being downstairs, like packing up the mambo sauce. And I remember sitting on the steps behind him saying, I need to talk to you. And he just looked at me and said, what did you do? What did you do? And I said, I put up this store. Okay. I was selling all these shirts. And, and I sold some, and I need your help to get these printed. Cause at that time I didn't have any shirts. I didn't have any supplies. I didn't even know at the time how I was going to print the shirts. I just knew I had sold some, and now I got to figure out how to get them to the customers.
Wow. And were these Teas in the Trap style, or just like?
No, they were like whatever. So it was like really whatever sold on Etsy. So if I saw like cat shirts were popular, I would sell cat shirts.
Okay.
If I saw like, One Direction shirts and they were popular, I'd sell One Direction shirts. It was really just whatever was popular. Okay. And so he was just like, oh no, you didn't. And so I ended up figuring out how to print the shirts. The woman who ran the print shop agency would allow us to come there on the weekends and rent out space, and I would go there every weekend and print out all my shirts and then mail them out to the customers until we got so popular. I ended up making that first month, mind you, this is my first month on Etsy. Okay. First month, I sold like $9,000 in shirts. Okay. Wow. And I was on the path for the next month to like double that amount that I was selling. And so what happened was I started to get like a lot of competition. And what they would do, they would file like these complaints against my store until it was ultimately shut down, you know? And so I was a little heartbroken and a little upset. And my husband was like, look, forget this. You don't need this. Um, you don't need Etsy, you know, you can just do this yourself. You know how to put up sites, you know, you set up Capital City, you know how to market, just do this yourself, you know? And I said, I don't know, you know, I'm a little nervous. And I said, okay, I'll give myself 6 weeks. I figured out a domain name. And I remember the day I figured out the domain name for Teas in the Trap, and I was talking to a young lady, and they had it, one of my friends, and they had a blog called Teas in the Trap, okay? And it was TEAS in the Trap. So like, you know, like sipping tea in the trap. Right. So it was kind of like they were like a blog, but it was like a gossip blog a little bit. And so I remember talking to her privately because the whole premise of the conversation was that she was telling me why Teas in the Trap was now defunct, meaning like they had split up because they couldn't agree on something, so they were no longer doing that project anymore. And I said, wait, you guys aren't doing that project anymore? And she goes, nope. I said, wait a minute, that's my new domain. I said, Teas in the Trap. And I spelled it TEES in the Trap. Okay?
Yes.
And I remember going home and telling I was so excited. Like I had just like won a prize. Okay. And I told my husband, I said, guess what? I got it. The new site is going to be called Teas in the Trap. And he goes, I don't know about this. And I remember saying, I said, nope. I said, nope, just stop. I said, just wait. I said, just wait. Just wait. That's all I said. Just wait. And he said, all right. And then it's been rolling ever since.
Wow. I mean, so let's break that down a little bit.
Sure.
Like, how does one even start a t-shirt company outside of Etsy? Like, tell us the anatomy of a product. I saw you shared that in the group today. Yeah.
So typically how I start my process is that I try to start with the least amount of effort and money available. And so that means for the t-shirts, I just needed a really good mock or a template. And I needed like a good about 8. I told myself if I could come up with 8 solid designs that I thought would sell, how I would advertise it. I would just put up the mocks online, engage with people on Instagram and Facebook, run ads to my newsletter. And what else did I do? I would, I would put up other little inspiration posts or outfit posts. I would just keep my engagement up. And this was kind of before everyone was doing t-shirts and everything. So it wasn't as much competition, as it is right now. So it was really easy for me to just go there and talk to people on Instagram. And they were really interested in the site, and really interested in the designs I would post, and couldn't wait for us to launch. And it's like I said, it took me about 6 weeks to get it all together because this was kind of new. I had gone from selling one product to setting up an entire store, with different products, different sizes, different shipping options. When you're selling mambo sauce, it's just like one bottle or two.
Yeah.
One or two. The options, there are no options,
Yeah.
So it was very hard to get set up initially because it was just very overwhelming. I mean, knowing, how to configure all the taxes, the shipping, it was just a lot that's why I gave myself 6 weeks. So, in that time I would just run, little Facebook ads to, like I said, a newsletter just to kind of, get people to sign up for my mailing list so that when I was ready to launch, I could just launch.
And which newsletter was this? From your blog or? No,
so the shirts had their own newsletter. So they had a newsletter on MailChimp starting out because that was free, Okay. So it was a newsletter running. So I was starting from zero everywhere.
Yeah.
I had no subscribers, no followers or anything. And I just started and I said, I'm going to make this work.
How did you, so you ran ads to get people to subscribe? Like what were you enticing them with? Just like stay tuned for the...
Exactly. I would say sign up to get exclusive 15% off or whatever coupon when we launch, and I would constantly post new ideas and show them the new shirts that we were going to be having. And while I'm doing that, I'm creating like a plan. Like I tell people that I don't actually do vision boards. I do like vision outlines, because I don't because I don't like, I don't have the patience like sit and cut stuff out and do boards and stuff. It's nice, but I'm married with 4 kids, by the time I put that vision board down, it'll be messed up and trampled on. So what I do is I make an outline of all the things I need to get done. And one of the things that I focus on when I launch a new product is immediately I try to identify what people, what brands, or what online personalities do I think would wear my products or use my products. And then I make a list and kind of figure out how to get in contact with these people, whether it's talking to them on Twitter, talking to them on their Instagram pages, finding their email addresses. So all of this is going on in the background. I'm setting up the shop. I'm designing the shirts. I'm running these ads. And mind you, these are like $5 ads, so it's not like I'm balling out of control over here. And get constantly engaging with people on Instagram and then making my plans, finding out, figuring out who my audience is and who I could kind of market these to. And so I remember how Teasing the Trap launched is that. So I launched on like a Thursday. I did a soft launch on a Thursday. And then I had like one sale, which was good because I'm like, okay, this is going to work, So I remember that that like Saturday, I started going down my list of the people that I had wrote down that I wanted to contact. So it was like all these different high-level bloggers and editors of magazines, editors from Essence. I had found their contact information, and I just went down the list and started emailing everybody. And I just simply said, "Hi, my name is Arsha. This is my new brand, and I really love what you're doing. And I just wanted to introduce what I'm doing now and ask if I could send you some free product just for you. You don't need to post it. We just want to send you something in appreciation of what you're doing,
Yeah.
And so what happened, what I didn't know is that Claire from Fashion Bomb Daily, I had emailed her, okay, and she not only she responded that Tuesday. I'm sorry, I sent the emails on Saturday. She responded that Sunday and did a full blog post about my shirts, okay, and then posted it on Instagram, okay. By Monday, I had about $4,000 in sales, and I was like, "What in the world?"
Oh my God! Yeah.
Yes, and so it's just been crazy since then. It's been crazy. It's been a crazy ride.
Wow.
It's
Oh, I want to get into, so I want to come back to the influencer piece,
Sure.
of course, but for those at home, including myself, who are still starting out in the world of product and e-commerce, let's talk a little bit about the technical stuff too. So like, how did you choose which shopping platform you were going to be on? Shopify versus?
Sure. Now, back then, Shopify wasn't a thing. I say back then. Shopify was still fairly new back then. But so the only thing I really knew was WordPress because I had a blog, So I had a blog since 2009. So WordPress was like my baby, That's like me and WordPress is like ride or die, So to keep it simple, I decided to go with WooCommerce because WooThemes was a platform that I had used. I love their themes, and they had this WordPress interface for e-commerce that tied right into their blog, which was perfect for me because I was like, wow, I can, just do this on WordPress. I already understand how to use it, so it's not really a learning curve. The only learning curve was more so setting up pricing, understanding pricing, taxes, processing orders and things. That more of is a technical aspect that I wasn't necessarily prepared for. So, but luckily at that time I was using PayPal or something that was really easy to use. And so, they make it kind of easy for you to go ahead and
and then
get set up with a shop.
Got it. And then but you've since moved from WooCommerce, right?
Yeah, what happened was I would get steady sales, and they were reasonable sales, but every now and then someone would wear and post my stuff. Like one time Lovey had wore and posted, and she literally crashed my website. Okay. she, and so that happened once, okay, and then it happened again. And then it happened again. And then I took my entire blog e-commerce shop and moved it to like one of these heavy duty servers with all this power and all these bells and whistles. And it happened again.
Mm.
And then the final straw was in, because when you have a WordPress blog, you have to have, it's like, it feels like weekly updates. If you're not updating your theme, you're updating the core WordPress files, or you're updating the WooCommerce, or you're updating other third-party plugins. So every week, somebody's got something that you need to update. So what happened was one day I updated everything and everything just broke. So everything was broken, like no orders were being accepted. I didn't know. And I said, enough of this, enough. I shut that site down so quick, you understand, and set me up. So I said, I'm going to Shopify, because I had already been kind of like planning to make a move to a hosted option. But, but I was kind of worried based on the fact that Etsy had shut me down. So I was kind of leery of like going with another hosted version of e-commerce. Okay. But I had heard so many great things, and I've been there ever since. I haven't had any complaints. Okay. And because people always ask me that all the time, why did I go with that? And the reality of it is, with WooCommerce, you on your own. You know? You better Google your help, right. Hit some forums or some communities up, because if your site breaks, you short, Yeah. And when e-commerce is your life, you really have to take that in consideration, that your site can't ever be down. Mm-hmm. And with Shopify, they give you 24-hour customer service help. They will walk you through issues, help you get resolved, resolutions to your issues, and to make sure that your site is up and running all the time. And I know it's a little bit of a fee, it's $29 or something, but that peace of mind is what you're paying for, so.
Okay. And then as far as like mocking up your designs, whether it's a pin or a t-shirt, like, what, are you designing these? Do you have an in-house designer? Like, what did you do when you first started? And then when you're mocking up the designs, I never understand, like, are people finding random people on the internet wearing blank t-shirts? Like, what?
Yes. You can buy, now it's a little popular. You can just buy random people online with blank shirts. Yeah. Yeah. So as far as mock-ups, I would design the shirts myself starting out, and I still do to a certain extent, but I maybe, like now, I will hire out for specific things that I just don't want to spend time on. So like some more of the intricate shirts that have a little bit more detail, they will be a little bit more, cost a little bit more to get designed, and just need a little bit more effort and care that I can put into it. So I do both. I do both. I design them myself. I design the simpler looking shirts. And get the more complicated ones kind of hired out. Okay.
Do you use a specific platform for that, like a Fiverr or?
I have used Fiverr. They aren't my favorite, only because, for $5, you're going to get a design somebody else has. So I like mine to be kind of just for me. So yes. I will go and search out designers that can make custom things for me. But I'm not gonna lie, I have used Fiverr in the past. But moving forward, after a reasonable amount of success, is like that was no longer good enough, because I wanted to kind of elevate the level and the quality of shirts that I was sending out. It was and then the more competition that comes, the more you have to set yourself apart from what everybody else is doing. So now, like, if everybody else is like doing these basic shirts with type on the front, then like now that means I can no longer do those, or I have to at least evolve so that I'm doing more than just that. So right now, that's where I am. I'm trying to take my brand to beyond t-shirts and thinking more lifestyle.
Yes.
So we can have like a little bit of everything, and that it's not just I'm just 100% reliant on selling shirts.
Right.
Because it's more fun when it's different stuff on the site.
I love the new things you're introducing. And how do you manage quality control in this process? Because you're mocking it up based on, your own designs. And then how do you figure out like what fulfillment center to use or where to buy your whatever?
So right now, I have a couple employees, and I actually have a warehouse where I have a person that's there every day printing, packing shirts and mailing shirts out. So usually what happens is that I come in and create the idea of something. I mean, like I'll show them how to print the shirts. I'll show him, like, we have makeup bags coming in, so I'll have to show him how to print the makeup bags and attach the zipper pulls and whatever else I have going on. And he will just duplicate that process to get the orders out. And so like I said, this is our place. This is our employees. So I can kind of really throw anything at them and they have to just get it out.
Got it.
So if I want to do, aromatherapy sprays, or I want to do pins and patches, I can just drop it off there. Y'all have to send this out.
Okay. Hey guys, it's Nicaila here with a quick word from our sponsors. This episode is sponsored by SkillShare. The online learning community is offering our listeners 2 months of free premium membership. Explore new skills, deepen existing passions, and get lost in creativity with classes from SkillShare. Right now, SkillShare is such a great resource to have so you can stay inspired, express yourself, and connect to a community of creatives with fascinating classes on topics like how to start a business online, e-commerce essentials, email marketing, and so much more. You can also take non-business classes like drawing or writing, and that can be a great way to help manage stress, practice mindfulness, and feel connected to one another. I recently took a Skillshare class called Context is Key, Social Media Strategy in a Noisy Online World, and I just found it so valuable as a refresher on creating a channel-specific social media strategy for my brand. So as you can see, Skillshare offers classes designed for real life and all of the circumstances that come with it. Creative self-discovery and expression can settle your mind. I know it does for me. And spontaneous acts of creativity can help break up the routine of a day indoors. So Skillshare short classes are a perfect fit for that. And you'll create real projects and get the support of fellow creatives who provide encouragement, communication, and inspiration. So explore your creativity at Skillshare.com/sidehustlepro, where you'll get 2 free months of premium membership. That's 2 free months of premium membership at Skillshare.com/sidehustlepro. Let's go back to the influencer piece and the marketing now. You mentioned like you were tagging people. Does anyone, like, how did you approach it? And then how do you deal with people who are like, stop tagging me?
Yeah. So I know, because people tag me, and so I do. I hate when people do that. And it only bothers me when it's something that's like completely irrelevant to like like a party flyer.
Right.
So I know I said I said that I do tag people, but it's not, I'm not abusive with my tagging, meaning like it's very strategic. So if I'm working, typically when I'm working with someone, like I have partnerships with Lovey and Claire from Fashion Bomb Daily and Very Smart Brothers. So I will tag them when I post their products, just so that they know or see, and that I'm actively promoting their products. Now, in terms of new products that I want people to see, I'm very strategic when I tag, because you can't just tag anyone. It's like you. Because depending on how many people follow that person, they won't see your tag anyway. It's like tagging Beyonce. How many people tag Beyonce and stuff. So I just use the tagging in terms of just in this particular, when you're talking about the aromatherapy, I just tagged Yvonne Orji from Insecure, because I knew that that was the product that I was posting was directly related to her. That's why I tagged her in that most recent post. But usually I do not, and I'm not an advocate of tagging at all.
Right.
Like you should err on the side of just don't do it.
Yeah. And are you still into like reaching out to influencers, or have you reached a level where it's just not?
I do. I just sent emails today. It's still on I still on my grind, meaning like it never stops. Because the thing about online is that the landscape is always changing. One person that was popular 3 months ago isn't the same that's popular like 3 months from now, and there are new influencers coming up every day. And I really have to do my due diligence to make sure I'm staying kind of with the curve and making sure that my brand doesn't kind of get pushed to the side because of so many others that are doing this something similar.
Yeah.
So I send emails out. I constantly try to create new products to make sure that my brand is staying fresh. And I also I seek new and higher level partnerships to give me access to larger audiences. So it's like a constant, it's a constant state of what am I doing next?
And I love the fact that you're always thinking one step ahead, like with these new insecure products. And I read this quote recently, it said, there are good ideas and then there are profitable ideas. So how do you test to validate your ideas for products? You touched on it a little bit earlier, but tell us more.
Yeah. So like even with the aromatherapy sprays that I'll be adding to the site, I decided to test that product out. Now, usually I would just design those myself, but this time I just went ahead and had these designs because I knew that they would do well. I actually saw another brand that had something similar and not named something similar. They were just a random aromatherapy product. A small business company. And I was like, wow, what if I redid those with like some cooler names to them, And so I said, okay, before I invest too much, I'm going to get this designed. I bought like 5 sheets of like labels. I printed them off myself. I bought like a bag of little bottles that cost me maybe $14. And I said, I'm going to just get it started. I'm going to put the labels on the bottles. I'm going to take the picture. I'm going to make it look nice. And I'm going to put it on Instagram. And it took me about 20 minutes and, to get that all set up and take the picture. And half of that was like getting my printer to work correctly. So it was not, my printer was like temperamental or something. It didn't want to like print the right color. So I was just like, because it's actually 4 bottles. There's one more that's called This Too Much. Yeah. When you just over it, So, I was like, forget it. I'm just going to go with these 3. I'm going to post them and see how they do. Yeah. And like people just started going crazy. And people were going to the site looking for them. And I was like, wow, this could really be a big thing. Like I was just going to sell these on my site as like some little cute little gifts to give people or something. And after thinking about it and seeing the response I got, I was like, wow, maybe I should put these on a separate site. So right now, that's what we're doing. I'm going to put up a separate site. I'm going to come up with like 4 more fragrances, and then I'll be able to kind of sell these as a standalone, but they'll still be on the Teas and the Trap site.
Love it. You guys, you see what I mean? Like, first of all, how do you so now you have to go explore like how to get fragrances into a bottle. Exactly. You got to learn a whole new thing.
Exactly. I hadn't even thought that far ahead. So now I'm looking online, like go to Google, like recipes for...
I love it because, being in your Facebook group, and again, guys, that's Brand Build Sell. I'm going to link to it in the show notes. And the show notes will be up on time this week. So in the Facebook group, I've seen people say, hey, my product's not selling, still haven't gotten the first sale. And I keep wondering, like, there could be a plethora of issues going on between the marketing or what have you. But I also wonder, are these ideas validated? Like
exactly. See, that's my thing. Because that's normally for me. People want to hurry up and get started, and that's fine. If you know the e-commerce game, you know what? Put your money into it, get started. But for me, every business I've launched, I've done pre-launch, I've done newsletters because once you start, I would rather spend $5, a day for 2 weeks on a Facebook ad, highlighting a product that I may potentially sell, and see how many people sign up for my newsletter to be notified when this product launches. You know, before I invest in a website, okay, product, a domain, I don't want to invest in none of that stuff until I am positive I'm going to make my money back.
Yes.
And so, but some people would just get really excited and want to hurry up and launch, but they don't realize that it's a process behind that. You can start, you can start without doing that, but I'm going to tell you that it is really deflating when you launch and have not done the background work. And then you realize that day 1 has gone by and you have no sale.
Mm-hmm.
Day 2 has gone by and you have no sale. Day 3, and then it turns into week 1 and week 2 with no sales. It's kind of disheartening, and it makes you believe that maybe this wasn't the right thing to do.
Right.
Whereas if you would have just stepped back, decided, and said, you know what, let me try to pre-market this thing and see what kind of feedback that I get. And then based on the feedback, that'll be my deciding factor on whether I move forward.
Mm-hmm.
People just like to jump in the head. I'm just not.
Yeah. Right.
I'm not going to have 20 different shirts sitting up in my office because they can't sell.
Hello. Yeah, some of us had to learn the hard way, but it's still good. Like, it's taking action, but don't go down the money train.
Exactly. And you can start the other way where you just put up a site and then start advertising, but you really need to go like hard in the paint. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You need to come out the gate running. You launch your site. You need to start with them Facebook ads, start with them influencers, pay for advertising. It's like people really think that, what's that movie? I don't even remember what the name of the movie was, but it was like, build it and they will come.
Right.
It doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work like that. It's like the tree in the forest. Exactly. It's like if nobody knows it's there.
Exactly.
Nobody's
So like you build something and it will just sit. It will sit. Your
Mm-hmm.
family and friends.
They can only buy so much.
Exactly. Okay. You can only harass them but so many times. Okay. So.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I find really interesting about your business approach, because especially in the world of like online courses and things like that, people have you thinking like of this specific funnel, sales funnel, marketing funnel, where you got to get them on your list and you got to give them a freebie and then you got to build trust and then but you just skip all that. You're like, listen.
Yeah, no, you go right to the money. Look, that's why I try to tell people. I say, look, because that's one of the things that bothered. That was actually one of the reasons I started my Facebook group. It was because there was so much misinformation being posted out.
Mm-hmm.
You would have these business experts, and I'm saying this like with quotes on the outside,
right?
And they would say, give you all this advice on how to like build your brand and sell products, but they really didn't have any experience doing it. What they had experience doing was selling workshops and selling digital downloads and webinars. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the path or the amount of effort that you have to go through and sell this stuff is different. Like, of course, when you're selling workshops, you're selling you. People have to buy into you, and they have to like you, not like your content. They have to like you and your content. When I'm selling a shirt, they don't care about what I'm doing, what I look like. Either I'm selling them a shirt that they're going to want to like and wear, or they aren't. It's just like when you shop on Amazon. Like all of that stuff that is sold on Amazon, it isn't all coming from Amazon itself. Sometimes they're coming from small businesses and people right in their homes. And you aren't like, well, I wonder what kind of platform they're using to process. Like, no one cares. Like, I wonder what their funnel is. And no one cares about that stuff.
Right. That leads us to the Facebook advertising portion. And of course, you can't truly break down your Facebook advertising and the way you do in your webinars and all of that. But for the people who are just getting started with product and e-commerce, I attended your phenomenal webinar with Lamar Tyler of Black and Married with Kids the other day.
It's so funny.
And so even as a marketer, right? Like my day job, I'm a senior marketing manager at NPR. I live in the world of, Facebook ads, but for a completely different target. Like it's usually
Okay.
either video views or driving website traffic. So I learned so much about using Facebook ads specifically for e-commerce. And
Right.
I don't know if you have like a short link or pretty link that you can drop to tell people about tomorrow's webinar. I think this episode will come out
do.
tomorrow.
You can go to www.thefacebookformula.com and it'll take you to the landing page.
Okay.
Again, that's www.thefacebookformula.com. And again, it'll take you to the page. And we're going to actually do a recap of kind of, a quick recap of the free webinar just to make sure we're all on the same page.
Right. Because it's a lot of different stages.
Make sure you didn't forget nothing from last week.
Right.
And then we'll go into more specific, things that can get people up and running.
Okay.
And because it can be overwhelming. I mean, if you've ever looked at the Facebook interface, it's like a lot of stuff to click on and stuff everywhere. I don't know what I'm looking at.
And you could get to the same thing through two different pathways. It's
you're like,
Facebook?
where am I? I don't even know what I clicked on.
Why can I boost this on the page, but then I can also boost it and it's different?
Yeah, like what is the difference? Right.
So guys, I personally will be at that webinar. So me and Nicaila will be at that webinar because that's how informative and helpful I found the free version a few weeks ago. So break down maybe like some early, like beginner things that you've learned from Facebook advertising, whether it's, setting up a pixel or.
Sure. Yeah. I'll give a few tips, and these are one of the things that we went over with went over in the free webinar. But this is just some of these things that people, when I talk to people, this is one of the things they do not realize. When you're running Facebook ads, you have a target audience that you need to create. Okay, and that target audience should never be pointed to the front of your shop. So it always should be pointed. These Facebook ads should have a link directly to one product and one product page. And when you're creating an audience, you need to make sure that you're creating an audience that is targeted to that specific product. Because we all know you can have one website, let's say you have 10 different shirts on one website. That doesn't mean each one of those shirts will appeal to the same person. So if you're using my site, for an example, so if I have a shirt that says, let's see, a little bougie. Okay. I've got a little bougie shirt, but then I want to sell a shirt called Thick Thighs Save Lives. Like those aren't the same two people that are going to buy that shirt. The people who will buy Thick Thighs shirt may not buy a little bougie shirt. So I need to custom create audiences specifically for the Thick Thighs shirt and specifically for the little bougie shirt. People think you just, I'm targeting this one group and I can just send them to the homepage. Like people get overwhelmed when they go to the homepage. If they're looking at, if you're highlighting one product on your ad, which is easiest to do since a lot of people are looking at this stuff on mobile, the link in your ad should be directly to that one product. Don't make people have to click and wonder where they're supposed to be going or get to the page and then can't find the shirt that they were looking at on Facebook because they'll be immediately turned off. Yeah. Make it easy for people. Have one picture with one highlighting one product, very clear, and have one link to that one product. And people will sell. If the product is good, it will sell.
I love that because I personally just learned that lesson. Number one, I thought, you know what? The t-shirt is the first thing you see. It's all right if I take them to the whole shop. It doesn't matter. Nope. If you're forcing people to take two actions instead of one, you're risking losing them. And two, I thought I was being cute. I put up this flat lay with this necklace and my t-shirt. Everyone kept asking me for the necklace. I was like, I'm not selling the necklace.
Damn it. The necklace is not for sale. No, do not do that. That's a very good tip.
Yeah, so take it from me, guys. I'm out here learning just like y'all.
Do not do that. No distractions. Right. Because people get easily distracted. Yes. I've had that happen too. And I was just, I've never run an ad to that, something like that, but I've had that happen after just posting something on Instagram. I posted an outfit or something that I created in Polyvore on Instagram, and then everyone was like, asking me about some other items in there. And I said, oh my gosh, is this going to go on all day? Like,
Right.
guys, I don't know where it came. I don't know where this came
I
from.
do not know. All
Yeah,
right. And
so.
right. So guys, if you want more Facebook strategy tips from Arsha, go to it's the facebookformula.com, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and I will link to that too. Now, I think we can squeeze in a 5-minute lightning round
Sure.
if you're down. All righty.
Sure, that's
So
fine.
let's hop right into it. So number one, what's an online resource that has helped you in your business that you can share with the Side Hustle Pro audience?
Let's see. I would probably say having automated or kind of like it's Buff. So I use Buffer for to schedule posts on Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, and Google Plus. But then I also use a site or service called OnlyPult. That's OnlyPult, and they do automatic scheduling for Instagram. So you can upload stuff right into their interface online, and things are scheduled and posted on time. Okay.
Love that.
Which is great because that means that you can now hire help with and have people schedule posts to go out on Instagram. And this isn't one of those apps where they just like send you a reminder to upload something.
Mm-hmm.
It's you're actually uploading it through their system, and then the item is posted without any additional interaction from you. And then also within their system, a monitor or moderator can actually moderate the comments on your Facebook account, but not actually logging into your the platform itself. So it kind of gives like a little buffer, especially when you want to hire people and you don't want to give them direct access to your accounts.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very helpful.
Yes,
so that's probably why.
clutch.
So OnlyPult.
OnlyPult. Okay, I'll look that up and link to it.
Okay.
Number two, what is a daily practice you use to start your day on the right note and increase productivity throughout your day?
Oh, I don't know, because I'd be sitting here struggling. Okay,
Yeah.
so
And you said you have 4 kids. Wow.
yes,
How?
I be struggling. So what I do every night, no matter what, and can be hard for some people, is that I end my day and I start a new day. Like I try not to carry over the same baggage that I had the day before and bring it into the next day. I wake up renewed, and I try to have a positive outlook and be very resolution oriented. And that helps me start off with a positive attitude throughout, during the day. Now, whether I end up with a positive attitude is different. But every morning, no matter what, I get up and I say, I'm going to do better than I did yesterday. Sometimes it works out, sometimes I don't, but I always know, no matter what, is that I will go to sleep and I will wake up feeling like I can try this again. So
love that.
That's been very helpful to me.
Number 3, what's been your proudest moment since starting to work for yourself?
Probably the proudest moment is is seeing my kids be proud, like so since we sell Capital City Mambo sauce, it's a product, and we sell it online, but we also sell it in local store shelves. So you can just like go to your grocery store and like buy this product, right? Mm-hmm. And so the funny part about it is when my kids, they would go to school and they would say, my teacher wants to try some Mambo sauce. And I'm like, why would you tell them that? when was this a topic of conversation throughout the day?
How did that come up?
Yeah, how did that conversation happen? So it was just always funny and amazing because it was like, wow, they are really proud of us. That they go to school and talk about this and are extremely happy about the success we've achieved. And then, these teachers will process orders online and they'll continue to order, and we'll see that they're placing orders online. So it's just amazing to see that even though we don't kind of press upon them that they have to do this it's just, I think having them around and seeing how people love the product and bringing them to the events and having them tag along to the office and, often having to work there with us, they see the entire process from start to end. And when they see people are genuinely loving our product, it makes them proud of what we've done.
I love it. And can
So
you
seeing them
imagine,
proud,
what's going on in their heads and what they're going
I
to
don't.
do when they grow up?
I know. I tell them that they don't have to do this. They don't have
Yeah.
to do this, but it's that I would like them to. But the goal for our business was two things. It was to have something that we can pass on to the kids that they can take if they want to, or we could sell it and have enough money available for them to start their own path in life without having to start from zero.
Yes. Yes.
So, yep. So either way
Awesome.
works.
Okay. And then number 4, what's the best book or podcast episode or live event that you've consumed this year?
This year, I don't really go to many live events unless I'm speaking at them. Let's see, live events. I would say podcasts. One of the first podcasts I started to listen to and was always a huge inspiration for me, even before he got like mega big, is Pat Flynn with Smart Passive Income. Listening to him was how I learned how to set up my affiliate website and kind of earn money and get clicks and get links and link backs and SEO. He was one of the first people that I started following and really, because he gave so much free content at the beginning. He was only trying to help people understand what he did. It wasn't so much about, because nowadays it's about how can I sell this course?
Right.
How can I sell this webinar? How can I get you in my funnel? Like you said, back when he started, it was just, I'm just telling you so you can know what I'm doing and hopefully use this information to make yourself better. And so that's kind of been my mantra as well, is, you know what? I already make money with my businesses. So my goal is to, it'd be great to sell a webinar or have a course. But the reality of it is I'm going to give you so much free help in my community that when I am ready, then you'll know that what I'm doing and who I am is genuine. Because aside from paying for webinars, like, you'll know that when it comes down to it, I want you to win, so.
Amen. And I fully believe that. Even I was getting like 12 of your emails this past week, and I read every single one. I was like, I love this. Oh, look at this gift.
I said, people are going to jump off this list. I don't even care.
I saved everyone. I have a email example folder. I was like, saved.
Thanks. And the thing about it is, I sit there, I'm telling you, I just be sitting here on my bed watching TV. Well, I'll send out a newsletter right now, and then I will sit and find the silliest stuff.
I was like, and I will schedule all these,
and I will put it in a newsletter, and I will crack up, like, type in the newsletter. I'd be like, oh yeah, this is good. Yes. And I will hit send. And I always sit there and go, I wonder what kind of person these people think I am on the other end of these emails.
It's like, how does she come up with this?
I think this morning I sent like a gif of like Tiny body rolling or something. And I remember my husband looked over. He was like, is that Tiny from the T.I. and Tiny? Are you sending that out in a newsletter? And I go, yep. And it's going to do good too. He just shook his head and said, let me just mind my business.
I love how your husband's like, you doing what now?
He said, is that Tiny dancing? Are you sending that out to people? I said, yep.
Loved it.
So funny.
So, final question. Yes. What is your parting advice for fellow women entrepreneurs who want to be their own boss but are worried about losing that steady paycheck?
I would say, start where you are. You don't have to quit your job, but you do have to put 100% effort into it. So if that means you work all day and then do your business at night, do that until you're able to replace your income. But don't think that you have to jump out there and quit your job, or jump out there and build a huge site with all these different products. Jump out there and start running $400-500 Facebook ads. Like, I think people get afraid that they compare themselves to people like me who've been doing this for 2 years. So I got 200 or maybe like 100 products on my site. And they say, well, I can't compete with that. But they don't realize that they don't have to. When you create your own lane, you have your own path to follow. So if you're going to start with 5 products, you can do that and make $4,000 or $5,000 a month. You have 4 or 5 good products. You can make $4,000 a month online. And I think people kind of get sidetracked based on looking at other people. Mm-hmm. So it's really just focus on yourself and start where you are and start with what you have, and just do not go into debt trying to make this happen.
Yes. Amen. I love that. That's a great note to end on. And before we wrap up, clearly, guys, I could have talked to Arsha all day. We didn't even get into half of your businesses. You realize?
It's fine.
So if people want to reach out to learn more about like Capital City Co. and distribution and all that, where can they contact you?
Oh, okay. So the best one is going to be Arsha at Brand Build Sell. And so that's one I will answer. And that's kind of more, business related. So if you have questions or want to join the Facebook group or just want to drop me a line and say, hey, girl, I'll be there.
All right. What about social? Are you active anymore or just too busy?
The best, it depends. If you want to learn more about my businesses, you have to go to those sites because I'm active on those, along with people, my employees that I have working. But if you really want to talk to me, you'll have to go to the Facebook group and tag me. You're like, don't send me an inbox. Don't come to Instagram and tag Brand Build Sell because I'm not going to see it for another month. Yeah. Just if you come, but if they come to the Facebook group and talk or tag me or have a question where they specifically speaking to me, I do try to make my rounds in there and have a presence, because that's one of my pet peeves too, is that people have these groups and they have these huge brands, but they never interact with people that are in the group. So I say I never want to have a group where people don't feel like they can't just talk to me,
Yes.
so I'm I'm probably overly active in the group.
Same with me. I'm like, okay, I need to log out of here. I need to ban
exactly.
Facebook. And it's tough when you do Facebook for a living. So you're always on it.
It is. Because it's I'm there to work and I'm there not to work.
Right.
It's it's all in one. I don't know. It's crazy. So it's hard. It's hard.
Right.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. Arsha, it was a pleasure having you in the chair today. Okay. Thank you so much for all the wisdom. You. Yeah. And there you have it. Hey guys, thanks for listening to Side Hustle Pro. If you like the show, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts. It helps other side hustlers just like you to find the show. And if you want to hear more from me, you can follow me on Instagram at Side Hustle Pro. Plus, sign up for my 6-bullet Saturday newsletter at sidehustlepro.co/newsletter. When you sign up, you'll receive weekly nuggets from me, including what I'm up to, personal lessons, and my business tip of the week. Again, that's sidehustlepro.co/newsletter to sign up. Talk to you soon.